So hope my screen is also visible now.
It is. It is visible. We are
Okay,
good to go.
great.
Thank you.
So can I start now?
Yes, please. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you everyone for being there, and good afternoon everyone. As per Indian time, yeah, we have a lovely afternoon or evening here. So yes, I will be presenting my paper on preparing school for future, which is like the role of design in schools. This is something which I am pursuing my PhD on. Like I'm pursuing my PhD on developing pedagogical tools for developing design competencies in school children at IIT Delhi here. And my co-author is Nikhil, and my professor is Jyoti Kumar. So I will be dwelling on basically why design in schools, some of the more references to corroborate the fact that design in schools is needed at this point of time, course details, survey result, and observation. So the background is like we wanted to do a physical design course in school, but because of the pandemic, like we were restricted to online mode. So we thought like let's explore the online mode and can design be taught in an online mode. But before that, like why design in schools? So if you look from the aspects of development, it's these are like physical, emotional, social, and cognitive. And for physical, we need to take proper care of a child, like diet, exertion, and sleep is proper. Loved, owned, valued, and trust in relationship helps in emotional development of a child. For social, we should not doubt the child, like we should trust his friends, friendships, interactions, and all. And for cognitive, we need to take care of the linguistic part, experimentation, what exposure we can give to a child. So these are the development aspects of development of a child. And when I look at the future needs of a child, like as Tony Wagner has rightly pointed out, like these are curiosity, critical thinking, problem solving, entrepreneurialism, analysis, practical, being creative, being collaborative. And what we do is we actually take education as a center point where we feel that both the aspects can be catered by education, both the aspects of physical development and both the aspects of future needs of a child can be catered by education. But somewhere like if we say that currently, if I am more specific to India, like we need major improvement in our education and education policies as well, like which is being on the way. So because some of the education which is traditionally being going on here is one size fits all, rote learning, one right answer, disengaged students, like no room for experimentation. So these are some of the like improvement areas which education is needed. So what we can do here? So I thought like changing the education system will be really a mammoth task for me. So how can we assess the education system if we can do that? So that's how the entire thing came in place. Like if we can assess the system in a way that caters both the aspects of development as aspects of future needs of a child, it will be great. Furthermore, if I go much more deeper, like if we also analyze from different aspects, like in the top skills, which World Economic Forum also says, like what are the top skills needed for future of job. And these also, if I highlight some of them, are innovation, problem solving, creativity, originality, reasoning, ideation, and somehow design education and fits all in those little nuances or little integrities of the skills which are needed for future, which has been projected by World Economic Forum. And if we see like some of the keywords for future are flexibility, problem solving, like where when we are saying that AI, machine learning, automation are like developing at a rapid pace. So what it will be all needed, like creativity, curiosity, ideation, analysis, reasoning, originality, practicality, innovation, critical thinking, user experience, collaboration, emotional intelligence, and the list may go on. But so these words, what I see is design is one domain which encompasses many of these words, and hence I feel like as we give the exposure of social sciences or mathematics or English in schools, why not design? So can we give the exposure of design in schools? So this was the premise. Like I built it upon like okay, that's the what it is needed. Even from literature, if we see like some of the references, like if we see p21.org, like that's partnership for 21st century skills. Like innovation, creativity, critical thinking, problem solving are essentials for students in future. Also, Kaufman says like schools are not just about test and checking boxes, they are needed to develop our inner creativity. Liz Swartz and Bransford also says the same thing. Like we need to be more adaptive and agile to respond to the changing future. Like how can we break the routine expertise which the education system develops? Can we make them more adaptive in future? Nelson and Stallman also say that education helps in building, like design education helps in building those adaptive expertise which is at its core of the design education philosophy. Tim Brown also like his famous TED talk where he says that design is too important to be left to only to designers. And at last, like Pekonen is famous paper where he says design is like reading, writing, and arithmetic, where it should be for everyone and it should be taught to everyone, and many are also starting to do it. So with that as a background, we designed the course like which will be for the online medium and how we can do that. And we were in talk with a particular school and how we can conduct the course. So we designed a course called Creativity and Design, and it was conducted online for 3 months with 12 children ranging from 6th standard to 10th standard. So we took a mixed cohort of 6 to 10 standard, whoever was willing to participate in the course. So our intention was to take a mixed cohort also. So this is a particular school in Noida, India, basically in Delhi NCR. It is based on experiential learning, a newly built school, but because of COVID again, like everything went from offline to online. Its focus is more on building values which nourishes, and inner development are the core focuses of Prakriti School. So even the architecture is even much more open to learning and all. So with that premise and with that background, we try to create the course on, we named it as creativity and design, and how we can combine the creativity and design to create just warm up the students, and can we like flex the creative muscles. So general flexing creative muscles, we try to take one aspect which will be taken care of. Representational exercises which will be the second, then design theories and principles, inspirational stories, so how they can get inspired so that they can pursue design, or they are much more willing to be much more innovative and inventive mindset. And last is application of whatever being taught in the sessions. So if I summarize everything, like the course, the basic flow of the course will be from general creativity, where thinking out of the box, divergent thinking, imagination, ideas, to train the child from there and to slowly take them to the process of design, which will anyway use the divergent thinking or thinking out the box or lateral thinking, inspiration, and so on and so forth. So, and then we will try to build the design competencies while we take them through the journey of design processes, where we teach them problem solving, relationship building, empathy mapping, prototyping, and some principles of abstractions and observation skills. So the child journey will look something like this. Like so, we planned in a way that it should be a creative stretch first, like so that they become much more habituated to it. Then we will go for much creative exercises, which helps in diversification of their capabilities or mental abilities, and then application of those diversified skills as functionality. And at the same time, they need to reflect as well, whatever they have learned, whatever they have done, and then slowly we will move to design principles, design exercises, representation techniques, and prototyping and application. So this was the journey which we planned for the children in schools. And if I take you through the structure of the course, it will be something like this. Like we planned the structure of the course, like each session will have 4 parts. First will be inspiration stories, will be which will be of 15 minutes. Will we show them some inspirational videos so that they get inspired. Okay, this is how design impacts life. Then there will be creative exercises, and in some sessions it will be design exercises. So in some initial sections it will be creative exercises. In the later sections or sessions, it will be design exercises. Then we will go to representation exercises, which will again of 20 minutes, like how they can, I will quickly touch upon what do I mean by representational exercises. And then fun learn activity for home, like they will have assignments on what they have learned in the entire session. So if I go through like what the inspiration stories looked like, it were like stories of one day we used to tell them about Lego, other day we used to tell them about Dieter Rams, other day we used to tell them about Neri Oxman, who works on the intersection of biology and technology. And so we tried to take varied examples from Elon Musk to Da Vinci, everyone. And we try to put it like how they had this innovative mindset and how they are cultivating this, and they used to cultivate their innovative mindset. So it used to open up children very much. And then we focused on cognitive exercises, or we can say cognitive and then creative. So cognitive, like we know, like these are famous exercises, like different usage of a paper clip. So we used to give them these kind of exercises and test them, like are they opening up. So these were the initial exercises which we used to build while we were building our course. Then we slowly transit from cognitive to creative exercises, like much more on the creative heavy part. Like they have to turn some mundane objects to something very much interesting. And once they make a collage of it, then they have to connect a story which will be clockwise, and then it will be also they have to create a story which will be anti-clockwise. For example, there is a thief who has stolen something, and the guy who's policeman has caught it, butterfly is seen, and they've tried to inform the home people, and they were partying. And that's how we have like give them some prompts, like how can you create stories out of mundane objects and creative stories. So once these the threshold was reach of creative flexing, and you can say warm up of creative exercises, in the later session we used to just slowly transit from creativity to much more on design focus exercises, like how to take inspiration, how we can design a logo in a simplistic way. So what are the compositions of a form, like what is the dominant, subdominant, subordinate form, and positive negative space in graphics, color theory, and low fidelity prototype, how to represent your sketches. And for thinking tools, we used to take like mind maps in one session, empathy map in other section. System thinking also we try to touch upon very lightly, not too heavy on system thinking, but try to make them absorb the concept of system thinking. And then creative thinking techniques like scamper, false faces, and many more. From there, we also went to representational tools, like how we can draw stick figures. If you are inhibited by drawing stick figures, you can convey entire of your user experience or user journey, or what the user requirement is, through stick figures, and then creating a storyboard using stick figures. And in other session, we used to take like projections, like how it looks from 3D in one view, and other view, top view, side view, front view. And then slowly we move to more complex, like perspective drawing and all. So it was a 3-month course. So we try to go slow, like only one class per week, so that the students don't get overwhelmed, and whatever concept they learn, they try to implement it in the entire week. So I will quickly run through one of the sessions, like session once, typically how the session looked like. This was how the session looked like, creativity and design. So session one had like a 30 circle test, a famous test, like we all know about it. Like how draw identical circles, and you have a 3-minute time and come up with as many options of circle as possible. And the students used to do something, and then we used to also show them like these are some of the options which can be also tried. And then we try to apply them also. When we say apply them, we try to tell them like application of circle in nature, man-made and abstract. Can you think of it? Like where you can see the application of circle in nature and in man-made objects like ball or a tire or a potter's wheel. And then we used to take them to the level of abstraction, like where what is circular. When we say abstract, is circular economy something abstract concept? Or when we say social circle, this is something very much abstract, which is not tangible, but yet concept which is prevailing among us. So that's how we try to tell them, try to apply whatever you have learned, even small as application of a circle. Then the famous paperclip test, which this was for session one, 30 circle test and paperclip test. And then the next 20 minutes was for representational exercises. Like we used to teach them how to draw stick figures, because these are really important, so that the inhibition of a child to draw something goes away, and how to make storyboards out of it. And from there, we used to end the session by giving them some fun-filled assignment, like try to use whatever objects you have in your surrounding and create something useful out of it. So this was the thing which we did for 3 months, one session per week. And at the end, we tried to collect the data. Like we tried to ask them generic questions. Like we didn't ask them very much heavy questions, and we try to see like what was the result of such a workshop for 3 months among children. Did they like it? Did they didn't like it? What happened when we give an exposure of design to such kids? So this is a summary of like how was the level of the course, which topic they liked the most, what was the level of learning for them, like was it good, satisfactory, or how was the level of knowledge before and after the course, how engaging was the course, and like what aspects they liked the most, will they enroll for the level 2 of the course, will they recommend it to their friends, any suggestion for improvement of the course. Like these are generic feedbacks we try to see, so that we can see okay how design, exposure of design helps in what impact does it creates on a student. So if I try to tell you some of the data, like the survey questionnaire revealed that the engagement level was from engaging to highly engaging. So we could gather responses of 6 students out of 12, and these were some of the reasons. So I'm presenting this as a small case study which I tried to do. And the personal assessment level, it was like from maximum tried that wrote that it was good for most of the respondents. Level of skill improvement from like what it was earlier before they joined the course and after they joined, they after the course completion. Somehow this was a really good insight or finding for us. They liked the color theory part really more, then followed by the pattern exercise and the drawing exercise. So this was a surprise for us why they liked the color theory much more. And most of them, like 83% of them, were willing to recommend their friends. So we were inferring like this means that they were enjoying the course and they are looking forward to recommend it to their friends. So some glimpses of the courses, if I may show here, like we in one of the session, like session 10, I gave them like can you rethink of the humber toothbrush, and we taught them scamper technique. So we didn't had the medium, but students tried to use the online medium. If you see a small video here. So she tried to like articulate everything in PowerPoint quickly and show us concept of a toothbrush which can have button and toothpaste embedded in it, and a toothbrush which have a nail cutter embedded in it. So she was able to apply the technique of scamper which we taught in creative thinking technique. Uh, Coming to some of the more sessions like color theory, like we try to give them exercise like what feeling the particular image evokes, and how can you like and decode the themes in the poster, and can you tell what are the themes which are being there. So we used to teach them here like in PowerPoint. So because of the limitations, so we try to use as basic software as possible as PowerPoint, and we try to teach them how we can get the themes out of a poster in case using a simple software as PowerPoint. And here I'm just giving them a demo like how you can just need to make circles and pick colors using color picker, and this is how you will find the theme of the particular poster. So, so if you see here, so how the children did it, even if we see here, so I'm just skipping a little bit. So this was a particular scenario, how the, so they try to use again the circles and place it near the color wheel. And that's how they used to identify what color scheme is it, is analogous, is it triadic, or it's complementary or split complementary. So it was really fun activity for them, and they also didn't know like through PowerPoint they can find out color schemes which they can again use it somewhere else. So yeah, this was some of the glimpses of the workshop. I will take you through the next thing. So when I tell about what were the observations and during the entire 3 months of mine and what were the findings through these workshops, which were the observations were basically I will break them apart in a little bit challenges and what worked, what didn't work, and some what can be done for future. So we planned for 60 minutes a session. We thought 60 minutes will be a good enough time to engage students which are from class 5 to class 10, because we got to know from the moderator, like we can't make the class little longer because attention span of the child. But what we realized that 60 minutes seemed too small to cover whatever plan we planned in the session. Like we, because the comprehension levels were different and individual feedback and explanation took most of the time. So we thought we will cover four things like representation exercises, creative exercises, and inspirational stories. But somehow the time was felt very short for it to do it. The topics which were being complicated, like perspective and projections, demanded more time for understanding. And exercises based on it also needed hand holding. Similarly, for logo design also, like it took much more time and much more hand holding than expected. The online medium created a hindrance in engagement and assimilation of concepts, which we can't, which is again, we couldn't help it. Like because on more active, which were more activity and feedback driven activities, it was like the engagement level was really less. And lastly, the observation and interaction with peers also seemed to be a roadblock in learning through online. We thought, like, because they were learning in silos, the interaction part, which is crucial for design, was really missing there. So what was working for us was if we see the results, what was working on was the hands-on activities where they were exploring something, which were doing something like in color theories or perspective drawing. So that was really exciting for them, and they were learning something new, and they never knew that with softwares like PowerPoint they can come up with know the theme of a particular poster, and they can create a new poster of their own. Regarding problem solving, like they were able to produce unique solution, but once they were introduced with creative thinking techniques, we realized that after introduction of creative thinking techniques, they were able to come up with really good ideas. Discussion on single topic, resolving the queries was more effective rather than like we were covering more sessions. So we used to discuss one topic then at length, so that it was much more better for them as well. So with that in mind, like and with that experience, we will try to conclude something like what is overall, if we want to teach design online to in schools, like what we need to practice and what one can take care of. First and foremost is like we must tell them to be on time. Assignment submission is a must. Like raise hand. So these are the ground rules to be communicated before starting off such course or such session. Then a course completion certificate also creates a motivational factor for students of such groups. Like, okay, I will get a certificate at the end. Like case studies video in video format are really working. Like they used to like it and they used to tell us, show us more. Apart from that, there should be a window period where we can take doubts at a separate window other than the course session. So we can plan a doubts resolution session somewhere in mid of the week where we can discuss one-on-one their doubts. The activity should be designed in a way so it can be done on paper and pen. And if a software is to be used, it should be open-ended and it should be web compatibility, because we can't expect everyone to have the particular software. So we need to take softwares which are easily downloadable or free to download or can be used on web directly. So attendance should be given priority, because if he's absent in one class and the same session follows in the second class, and it is very difficult for the student to make them cope up with what was done in last class, and it's a continuity of something new, because every session was new in that sense. The session to be more interactive. We need to ask more questions and tell them, like to like give them like encourage them to ask more questions rather than being a one-way communication, like just explaining the theory and expecting them to do that. List of materials to be given prior to the course begins, and like reviewing the assignments, and none of the ideas should be ridiculed or looked down upon because the children are very sensitive at this age group. A common board like Miro or Padlet can be used for cross-pollination in such a case where the entire learning is online. So if I say like what is the future scope of such studies, it gives us better understanding of the requirements needed to conduct design education online medium for school children. So if we conduct more studies, it will give us much more richer data what we can be done. And cross demographics, because India is really diverse, and if we do from schools like Prakriti, we should also do for schools like which are kind of lower in economic range, and we should see the data, what is the difference in the data there. And teacher training workshops should also be conducted on similar courses so that teachers are equally well equipped to assist the trainer or can help the students in a way. And these kind of exposure will also help a child to get better decision or take better decisions if he or she is willing to take some creative field in future as her career option. So I think these are some of the future scopes which these kind of studies which will reveal us. So this was it from my side. So let's all dream, create, and inspire. And that's what's all from my side. Thank you. Thank you for listening and being a patient audience.